Wow, fantastic, baby.
I think I'm ugly and nobody wants to love me. Hit you with that do-do-do-do-do.
There was a comment on a compilation of Teddy's hit songs that really stayed with me. Looking back, I realized it wasn't YG that I loved, it was Teddy. That one sentence says it all. Teddy was YG itself. Recently, the Netflix original animated film, K-pop Demon Hunters, became a major talking point. Its popularity was even reflected on the Billboard charts. So why are we suddenly talking about an animated film? Because Teddy himself, along with the producers from the Perlek label, where he serves as executive producer, participated in songs like Golden and Your Idol. From Bigbang and 2NE1 to Blackpink, Teddy has shaped the very sound of K-pop as we know it. He is the mastermind behind countless hits that have defined a generation. And even now, Teddy continues to delight ears worldwide at this moment. Today, we'll take a closer look at the story of Teddy, from his beginnings to the present day. Teddy was born and raised in Korea, then immigrated to the United States with his parents during his middle school years. The first place they settled was in New York State. When Teddy immigrated to the US in the early 90s, there were no other Korean or even Asian students at his school. He had a tough middle school experience, facing bullying and severe racial discrimination due to his limited English. Later, his entire family moved to Los Angeles, a city with a relatively large Asian population. By then, Teddy had become more comfortable with English and American culture. In high school, he was known as one of the popular kids. It was during this time that Teddy met two people who would go on to become key figures in his music journey. Danny, who would later become his teammate in a hip-hop group, and Choice37, who is still an active producer at YG today. Choice37 transferred to Danny's high school first, then Teddy joined them, and the three quickly became close friends. These three were so close that they'd eat lunch together and hang out every day. They'd even be the first to share new CDs they bought and spent countless hours talking about it. One day, while Teddy and Danny were deeply immersed in hip-hop music, they decided to create a demo tape of their own songs. And thanks to a composer they knew at the time, that demo eventually reached the hands of Yang Hyun-suk. The result? They passed the audition. And just 2 months later, they packed up his life in the US and moved to Korea. In a later interview, Teddy recalled, "I still remember how nervous I was auditioning in that hotel room." After moving to Korea, he spent about a year and 8 months as a trainee. During that time, Oh Jin-han and Song Bak-hyung joined the team, and in November 1998, they debuted as the hip-hop group One Time. Their debut song immediately shot to #1 on major broadcast music shows. They were introduced as skilled artists who could write lyrics, compose, and create their own raps. True to their hip-hop idol identity, the towels they brought on stage during performances even sparked a trend. In many ways, One Time paved the way for future idol boy groups as the earliest examples of what we now call a hip-hop idol group in Korea. At the time, Teddy was One Time's leader and main rapper. After their first album promotions, Teddy reflected deeply, thinking, "This is my music anyway, so why shouldn't I be more directly involved?" American rappers who had influenced Teddy from an early age naturally participated directly in their own music. It only felt natural for Teddy to follow the same path. He began learning how to produce from Perry, who was his musical mentor at the time. That was when Teddy first opened his eyes to the world of music production. From their second album, he was already taking part in songwriting, composition, and arrangement. By the time of their third album, he was virtually leading the entire team's music to the point where he could be considered more of the team's dedicated producer than even Perry. He was no longer just a rapper. He was evolving into a competent producer. In particular, The songs from One Time's second and fourth albums dominated the music charts and music shows multiple times.
아름다운 널 후회하지 않게 하기로 비록 세상이 그대를 힘들게 영원히 내가 너를 지켜줄게 간직할게 다들 아시다시피 우리 음악을 뜨거 엉덩이에 살짝 꽂힌 손바지 뜨거 쉬지 않고 뛰는 내 심장.
But eventually, the group began to slow down. A car accident involving one of the members, the mandatory military enlistment of another, and Teddy and Danny's permanent residency issues all contributed to the halt. After releasing their fifth and final studio album in November 2005, One Time ended their group activities. Starting in 2006, after the group's disbandment, Teddy shifted away from the stage and began a new chapter. Not as a performer, but as YG Entertainment's main producer. He had initially considered releasing a solo album, but instead decided to fully commit to producing. Given his personality, he felt it was a better fit for him to support talented artists from behind the scenes rather than being at the forefront himself. The first artist Teddy produced after changing his path was Seven. With his tall height, striking looks, and incredible versatility, from dance tracks to ballads to R&B, Seven had been one of YG's most anticipated rookie from the beginning. In fact, he had already been achieving great results since his debut, and Teddy already had been involved in Seven's album work even before 2006.
지친 아픔이 마음에 내게 오면 돼 기대라
12,000-seat solo concert sold out in just 5 minutes. Solo concerts in Tokyo and Osaka. At that time, Seven was undeniably one of the most popular artists in K-pop. But for producer Teddy, this was just the beginning. The moment he shook the foundation of K-pop began in 2008.
Let's go.
It's Bigbang.
Set the roof on fire,
색깔은 rainbow 넌 빠져버린 걸 알아 You just can't control
Lolly, lolly, lollipop, oh, 난 나의 lollipop. Lolly, lolly, lollipop, oh, lollipop.
To be honest, Bigbang already had hits like Alize, Haru Haru, and Last Farewell. But Teddy's production helped propel them into true superstardom in their early stage. However, in 2NE1 case, he was virtually responsible for producing almost all their consecutive hit songs, from their explosive debut track Fire to I Don't Care, Go Away, and many more. There's an anecdote where the head of Interscope Records in the US asked Teddy to work on a Lady Gaga song at the time, but he turned it down, choosing instead to stay focused on 2NE1 debut album. But his success wasn't simply riding on the fame of the idol groups. Teddy continued producing smash hits for their solo projects, and even for other artists too.
오늘도 난 이 세상에 휩쓸려 살며시 널 내가 바라봐도 너는 절대 피지 마 baby.
Teddy has always had a remarkable ability to understand what the public wants and translate that into sound. But his approach to producing goes far beyond simply making music. Teddy believes a producer must deeply understand the artists who they work with. He sees a music producer as someone who bridges the gap between the producer's goals and the artist's intentions through music. Because of this, he sometimes declines highly paid offers if he doesn't fully grasp the artists he'd work with. And once he feels that connection, Teddy crafts music that fits the artist or group perfectly, while still keeping current trends in mind. Furthermore, he often conceptualizes the outfits and choreography simultaneously with the music. He believes that Defining a producer solely by the music is outdated. In an interview, he once said, "Music and fashion have become inseparable. Music isn't just sound anymore, it's a culture." He even joked that we may need to replace the word music producer with culture director. Teddy explains that all these advantages come from working with artists he knows well. For him, producing a song means painting the entire picture, like sound, style, and story. He understood early on that it's no longer enough to just make a good tracks. This approach allowed him to create YG's distinct musical color and sound, something that could be felt without needing verbal explanation.
여기 붙어라 모두 모여라 Wow, fantastic baby Dance
내가 제일 잘 나가 내가 제일 잘 나가
With roots in electronic music and hip-hop, Teddy created a sound that was instantly recognizable. Sharp, stabbing synthesizers, bold, sweeping melodies, hooks that stuck in your head after just one listen, and lyrics filled with confidence and self-empowerment. It was a sound that stood apart in the K-pop landscape. But Teddy didn't just give his artists power and swagger. He also gave them vulnerability. Through his music, he helped express not only their strength, but also their pain, fears, and their softer sides. This gave YG artists a unique emotional depth, not just one-dimensional image.
왜 이렇게 못난 걸까 지금 이 느낌이 싫어 난 I think I'm ugly and nobody wants to love me.
Whether it's through powerful, hard-hitting tracks or delicate, emotionally charged ballads, Teddy kept proving his broad musical spectrums. And so, Teddy left a powerful impression on the public as one of K-pop top producers.
오늘은 바로 YG에서 7년 만에 선보이는 신인 그룹이 데뷔하는 날입니다. 블랙핑크를 소개합니다.